Hi, today we're talking about how to get over victim mentality. And I'm really excited about this talk because I think this is going to be really empowering for you. We're going to talk about the brain, what the brain's process in this, um, and what can help the brain process this and what hinders it. And ultimately, this is a brain thing. If we are stuck in victim mentality, it is a brain thing. This is not your fault. This is not your choice. You just can't just get over it already. I'm going to show you the process for this and how you can help your brain get you through this. And so this is really empowering and even exciting. Okay, so which is a weird thing to say with trauma, right? And that we are going to be talking about trauma here. I'm going to not say specific traumas because that's triggering, but this is a trauma thing. Okay. You don't get victim mentality for no reason. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. So, I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. The brain has a beautiful process for this. That process can get stopped or blocked and impaired, and so then it can't. And then we're going to notice symptoms showing up in our life. And so, my specialty is helping that process get unblocked and then when that process is functioning, the brain is able to convert what would have been symptoms, all that distress, into health and wellness for us, thriving, healthy relationships, growth, maturation, mastery, all the really wonderful things for us. And that's actually it. When that process is blocked and stopped, so also is our executive functioning in that specific issue, or maybe globally. And so we could be having executive functioning challenges because this process isn't running well. And so we get it running, and it's really simple. It does not seem like it's simple because of the lack of success that talk therapy has historically gotten in this, and that's because we were working with the wrong part of the brain. Sorry, we didn't know. Now we know, and we are learning to retrain ourselves and to be more effective with these processing disorders. So now we work with a different part of the brain, and well, I do, and lots of therapists like me do, and we're getting the brain to do the symptom resolution instead of trying to get people to change their behaviors, their attitudes, and to just get over victim mentality already. We can say that all we want to, but if the brain can't do it, we're not going to get it. Okay, so if you are somebody who has been told that have this victim mentality or stop being a victim, um, there's a process for this, and let's dive in. And if you're telling people stop being a victim, please know they can't. Okay, but I want you to hear this other option so that you can be more helpful, right? Okay, so we get victim mentality as a result of being a victim, being victimized, right? That's a real thing on the earth. I don't think any of us are confused. Um, and um, we can also get victim mentality if we have generational patterns of abuse, or if someone down the line in the generations had it, didn't resolve it, and passed it on to their children. It's a way of looking at the world. It's basically a trauma lens that the brain can't take off, and it puts the victim lens on. And so everything that you see, you're looking at it through the lens of being a victim, right? This is a perceptual thing. This is a brain thing, and it's a real thing. You're going to notice more when you approach projects. You're going to feel less empowered. You're going to feel a depletion in energy. You're going to feel a sense of helplessness. You might feel like really wanting to be rescued. You might notice feeling frozen in front of it, watching everybody else do the task, and you're just kind of stuck, right? Or maybe you're whining. And I'm a fan of whining. It's great brain work. That process, I have a video about that for bad habits that are actually good brain work. These need to be supported. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But you're noticing like a lack of strength, or you're noticing that you're collapsing in front of things, or you want people to help you, help you, help you. You feel a sense of less than everybody else. You're more passive. You are more scarcity minded. There's not going to be enough. I'm not going to get there in time. Right? A lot of just underlining turmoil. And so there's a lack of feelings of just of safety. So you're feeling more unsafe, you're feeling more worried, and these things start to add up. You're checking more things, right? I'm getting exhausted thinking about it, but this is part of victim mentality, and it does come with a bit of helplessness, and it's automatic. It's a brain thing. Your brain is like, oh, task, we're helpless. Oh, task, we can't do it. Oh, task, it's not going to work out. Right? Dreams and goals. Oh, I'm not good enough for this. Right? But the thing with this whole victim mentality is that I don't want you to stop being a victim. I want you to finish being a victim. I want you to finish the process. It actually happened. Now you need to process it, right? It's like if you ate something that was sour and it's in your stomach, and you ate the donuts, your stomach doesn't like all the sugar, finish it, right? Get it out. This is not we don't want to leave it in the stomach. We don't want to leave the experience of being a victim in the body. We want to finish it. The mind body system has a process for finishing things, and we need to finish it. And when it gets finished, we're going to talk about that. You're going to see it release. You're going to see new ways of being created. You're going to see your brain exchange the victim glasses for empowerment. I can do it goggles, and you're going to watch that transformation take place. That's a natural brain thing. Brains think like that, but the brain has to complete the process. There's a brain process for this. So if you are trying to stop being a victim, I think that you are going to knock your brain off its natural process for finishing this, and you will actually be here longer. If you're suppressing other people, stop being a victim, stop playing a victim. This is common. This is common talk with with abuser, victim discussions. This is part of the victim abuser dynamic. Stop being a victim. The abuser is actually closing the doors for the person to be a victim and to finish the process. If a person acknowledges that they are being a victim when they are actively being abused, they are going to be more likely to get out of that situation and complete it. So abusers tend to not let people acknowledge their experience of abuse. You see what I'm saying? No, absolutely own it. Own it. I've had it. I've been a victim. And own your victim mentality. I have victim mentality as a result. This is going to empower you because you're going to be on the process of brain. Look at me. Look at us. We're in victim mentality. What are you going to do about it? And your brain is like, ooh, I didn't notice because we were, not supposed to claim that. But now that we're looking right at it, let's make some changes. Let's wire this out of here. Right? This is your brain needs to fix this. And if you can't embrace it, if you can't acknowledge it, you're going to have a hard time getting your brain to work through it. Right? We're staying more in denial. When we are in denial, we are not on the process for healing something. We are actively working on keeping it over there. So we're actively working on keeping ourselves away from resolving this problem. Okay, so the fastest way to stop being sad is to be sad, right? You do need processing. I'm going to talk about processing here. The fastest way to finish grief is to grieve, right? Anything we're suppressing, the fastest way to stop being so angry is to be angry, right? If we're trying to not be angry, we're not going to finish anger very fast, right? The fastest way to stop being a victim is to be a victim. Do it. And I would say do it till you're satisfied. If you know that song is playing in my head too. Do it till you're satisfied, right? There's a really huge brain wisdom in that. Now, we can do this. We can, you might be hearing, yeah, Rachel, but if I do that, then I'm going to ruin my life. No, leaving this trapped in your body and running on your subconscious programming outside of your awareness is going to ruin your life. It's going to cover your life and paint your life and pattern your children to victim mentality. There's an idea, and it's perfect for brains, is that if you can name it, you can tame it. Right? If I can say, "Hey, I'm sad," then start to notice your sadness. It gets better because you are naming it. And knowing and naming is half the battle. So if you have been a victim and you are owning that, you can get your brain to shift this, and you will watch your brain finish this project faster. Put on empowerment goggles and off you go living your life. So I'm not encouraging you to live here. There are some really gnarly side effects to being a victim and victim mentality. However, you went through the town of victim and now you have to walk out of it, right? That saying, if you go through hell, don't sit down, keep walking, right? And if you have found yourself on victim lane, don't sit down and don't deny that you're on victim lane. Keep walking. Walk yourself through it, finish it. Whatever doesn't get finished gets passed down to our next generations, right? And we can finish this. So one of the challenges here is there are many people who don't have to stop here and figure out that they don't linger in victim mentality for a ton of time, because how long you stay in victim land depends upon the speed in which you can process your experience, and your brain can process your experience and integrate it. Once it finishes that process, we're done. It's reorganizing, rewiring, it's changing your behaviors. It's including the experience. It's not trying to deny the experience. It's not trying to make it the center focus of everything is all about victims, this victim experience, which in a trauma response, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see either denial, that never happened, or we're going to see that's the only thing that ever happened to me, brain wise, right? Not like that's not really what people say, but you can see that that's what they keep talking about over and over again, because that's actually a healing function. Brains, when they want to heal something, they lock in on it. Now, if you have processing delays, you won't be there for decades. This happens to people. This is people can get stuck with trauma processing for a lifetime. Their brain cannot do it and will not do it, especially because they don't know how to support the new part of the brain. It's not a new part of the brain. We're just working with this differently. We're working with an old part of the brain that we used to work with very well in our tribal practices, but now that we're so smart, we don't do it anymore, and now we have all these problems. Okay. But we want to increase processing speed. If people had early childhood experiences of getting distressed and regulated, and their parents came along and they got distressed and their parents showed up and regulated them. They got dysregulated, their parents came on and regulated them. They have a really nice pattern. Their nervous system expects to be regulated. So if they become victimized, then their system's going to be fighting to bring them down. And it knows how to do it. It's done it multiple times. It's pretty good at this. Those people are going to integrate this experience really, really quickly, relatively speaking. People that had childhood experiences of not going through this pattern, where in fact maybe they got dysregulated and their parents made it worse, so they go up. Their brain, or maybe they never had anybody around anyway. This is common with people in foster care, people who just didn't have any parents around, latchkey kids. They just never had anybody around. They get dysregulated and there's nobody there to co-regulate with and help bring them back down. So they just keep going up. Or maybe they were lucky enough to find some things, and so they have a little wave. I'm looking for these. But a lot of times I find people that in general, this is complex PTSD, their nervous system gets dysregulated and they stay there for long times. Their nervous system cannot find a pathway to get down that's healthy and constructive, right? So we're building that in. That's what I'm doing in my program, Inner World Transformation. We're building this in. It's one of the primary layers of the work that we're doing. But if somebody doesn't have this practice, they don't have enough practice to really process distress. So they're actually avoiding distress because they know if they go up there, they're going to have problems. So this makes a lot of rigidity and stiffness, and people are very controlled. This is a lot of your avoidance. Anyway, so, but that brain is not good at regulating. So what's going to happen is that if a trauma or victim, if that person is victimized, their system is not really good enough at practice, they're not, it's not skilled enough to take and get regulated, right? When we get regulated, we're turning on the executive functioning, we're turning on the process for resolving symptoms, the process of integrating the experience, processing it, understanding it, really wiring health and wellness into it, making it an included experience, getting wiser, getting smarter, getting more mature, getting healthier, getting stronger. Brains are designed to do that, take a trauma and get stronger with it. It's part of the design if it can complete the process, right? So that means when this is the case that we don't, our brain isn't good at processing, the processing speed is going to be so incredibly slow. And if you're around somebody like this, you're like, oh my gosh, are we still talking about this? And you're like, you're still on that. Can't you just let it go? No, the letting go process is not working. This is the same process for letting things go. It's not working. Right? And so we're not going to see them let it go. Please understand that. So we want to get this process open because you're going to see the processing speed increase. And that's why we're going to, the brain's, I say this every single time in my video, but I want to keep everybody on the same page. So if you've heard me say this before, you know. But the mind-body system is designed to take all the sensory information and move it to the top of the brain, right? Up the brainstem, up on top of the brainstem is the limbic system, and the stuff is registered there. And if it feels like it's safe, it lets the information go to the other parts of the brain and the executive functioning parts, and the healing, the repair, the understanding, the insight, the language centers, all that stuff. If whatever's coming up the system registers as pain, we go into fight or flight, and the limbic system actually shuts down the top of the brain. So it's shutting down the executive functioning, right? And so the limbic system is the gatekeeper of whether or not a trauma will get processed or not. Traumas by nature register as pain as they're moving through the nervous system, right? Maybe you were hit. I'm not supposed to be talking about traumas. Maybe your body, it received some information. So, and I could talk about that. I choose not to, okay? But your survival system is registering what your body is receiving, and if it's pain, we're going to fight or flight. This part of the brain doesn't distinguish between emotional pain, relational pain, social pain, or physical pain, or somatic pain, the body's expression of emotions. It doesn't differentiate that. Any of this stuff is going to send us into fight or flight. So if the trauma was emotional or mental, maybe it was shaming, that's going to get kicked out of processing mode. So it's not going to get up there. And so the shame will keep circling. The survival system kicks it back out, back into the body. And the body says, hey, you need to get this processed. And the survival system's like, what? Absolutely not. Out. And this will circle for a lifetime. This is why people are full of shame. And it just collects in the body. And then we have physical illnesses, right? This is not the design. We need to help with this. And so what we can do is we can influence the gatekeeper, which is what we're doing now. And so the gatekeeper is not listening to what the executive functioning is saying to it. It is not a logic and reasoning center. It doesn't care. It's not even on its level. It's like, I know how to keep us alive. And it specializes in keeping us alive. And it's just reacting to the signals coming from the body. So if pain is moving through the system, and we're also safety signals are moving through the body system, coming up through the spine, to the survival system, then the survival system, it can register the pain, but it's like, oh, it's safe enough to process it. It will allow the whole brain to work on it. So we want to use the body when we're processing trauma to get this up there. Now, your mind's body system already knows this. You're already doing things. Some of them are effective. Some of them are problematic. Some of them are causing you massive problems. We want to find strategies that help your brain process super fast and don't cause any negative side effects or cause the least amount. And so I have 3 favorite ones. I share these for free in my program. interventions for inner world transformation. These are my three favorite. These are the three I offer people right off the bat. I'm going to check and see if their brain likes these ones. You can see if the survival system lets something distressful up, we're going to see specific brain function, executive functioning, and all sorts of things that each time. And so we're going to see if we use an intervention, do those things happen? Are you experiencing those things? And so when that's a yes, that intervention is useful. If it's a no, I don't really see anything, we're throwing it out. We don't have time to be messing around with the intervention your survival system does not respond to. Okay? We're not messing around. So once we get that intervention on board that your survival system will respond to, even though the pain neurons are like, there's pain here, but the survival system is also receiving the safety signals, so it'll allow that trauma to finally get processed. Okay. Once the brain is processing the traumas, it's also learning, oh, this is here. Happens only here. This is not all the time. It's not overgeneralizing, because now it's going through the executive functioning, the understanding parts, the sorting parts, the making sense of parts. And so it's becoming accurate with the trauma, where the danger actually is and where it's not. People that don't have their traumas processed, their brain doesn't know. So the brain is like, everything's dangerous. Right? And so when we get traumas processed, the brain starts relaxing because, oh, here it's safe. Over there it's not. Over here it is. I'm not going over there. Here it is, and it's accurate because over there it's not safe. Right? It knows now because it actually got to go through the part of the brain that creates knowing and understanding and insight. When it's only being used by the survival system part of the brain, it's just pain out, pain out. Everywhere's pain, and so that's not. We want to move past that. And that's what victim mentality is. It's just, the brain doesn't know what happened. You know what happened. Your body knows what happened. Your body's trying to tell your brain what happened. Your mind's trying to tell your brain what happened, but nobody can, because the brain's process for understanding this and making accuracy is not working. Okay, so we need to get that up. And this is there's my train out there. I don't know if you can hear it. But this is how it works. So once we're integrating this, and once it gets fully integrated, it becomes a part of our experience, not the only thing that happened, or something that never happened, right? That will turn us, that creates a ton of other stuff, like lots of dissociation, denial, disconnection from the self, disconnection from others. That denial piece is a challenge in and of itself, but being aware of it and not being able to integrate a trauma is a different kind of pain nightmare, and including nightmares. Okay, so we really want to get this integrated. That is the crucial part about healing victim mentality. Now, if you are somebody that the trauma did not happen to, but it was in the generational line, then this becomes really cloudy and weird to process. Okay, you can't pick one trauma out. Now, it is traumatic to interact with traumatized people, so that is actually a thing that you want to address. Because if your mom was a victim and you weren't, of something, mom's going to still have some behaviors. If she didn't get it processed, she's going to be maybe more angry, maybe more shut down, maybe more withdrawn, maybe more passive, maybe more aggressive, maybe more manipulative. Your system's integrating with that, and that is going to impact you, and you're not going to be able to fix it. And so there's a sense of similar senses of victim mentality: powerlessness, helplessness, confusion, resignation. Right? And so you're learning the pattern of dealing with this, with receiving victim mentality without actually going through the original victimization. Right? This is what children are doing. And so it's really powerful when mom heals her where she was a victim. When she heals that also the child gets to pick that up as well, and they get to get the healing in that. So it's like, there's no point in worrying about what you're doing to your kids. You are. What we need to do is stay focused on healing these traumas. Don't try to fix victim mentality in your child. Fix it in yourself. It will automatically load up into your child through the mirroring neurons, like we're designed to do. Okay, this is powerful work. Stay focused. Back to work. Your victim mentality. Let's finish it. Okay, let's see where it's showing up. Let's finish it. And this is what I'm helping people do in my program, Inner World Transformation, different program. And this program is we're working on layers and layers and layers and layers of this. And if somebody, this program's designed to, I provide exercises, but and you are designed, you are putting using the exercise for your specific symptoms, your specific issues. They're going to show up differently for you than they're going to show up for somebody else. Panic shows up differently for all different people because nervous systems are different. You put yours in there, and the exercises help you and your brain resolve panic, right? But in this case, victim mentality, and you can use this for any symptom. That's what I do. That's why these are foundational exercises that we can use to help brains resolve things at will. Okay, it's pretty fun, pretty powerful, and it's fast because once we get this process open, whatever we're trying to get processed, all of a sudden the processing speed accelerates. This processing speed, when it's moving at the optimal speed, is the speed of electricity. So it's super fast. We are talking about resolving massive traumas or massive aspects of traumas. Sometimes we've got to break them down in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay, and your brain will have sorted out and understood and created new ways of being and created new pathways, the beginnings of them, in minutes. And so it's really powerful. Okay, couple of things here. Some key features of victim mentality that need to be processed, that are signs, and that if you've got these signs, you want to exercise your brain through these. Okay, is victim mentality. Instead of having compassion, we will seek pity. Instead of having compassion on ourselves, we will pity ourselves. So I feel so sorry for myself. Pity parties, these are important. Do not stop the pity parties. Finish pity parties. If you think about pity and compassion on a spectrum, pity being the least healthy, compassion being the most healthy, if you are in pity party land, you need to keep processing that, finish it. Your brain will automatically make it healthier and healthier until it's compassion. And that energy is super healing, super connective. It's healing, it's bonding. Families that have histories of victimization tend to pity each other, and it separates them. It's part of why families that have been victimized have a hard time staying together. It's because there's so much pity in there, and we're just pitying each other because it was bad, right? So we're pitying, but we really need to be compassioning, and that's a totally different energy. I should do a video on that specifically, but there's a different quality between pity and compassion. But don't push out your pity. You want to finish pity. It's a great spot, and if you can't be anywhere that you are not, so if you don't be, you got to heal right where you are. If you're in pity party land, you better be in pity party land till you're not. But we can accelerate the processing speed by applying some interventions to get you out of there in a short amount of time. Sorrow and grief are a key function in pity parties. Yeah, but in victim mentality, there is a lot to grieve if you have been a victim. So, grief and acceptance are on that spectrum. And so, grief, you want to finish it. You don't want to avoid being, the wrong way to grieve is not to grieve. So, but we want to be grieving and increase our processing speed by using some interventions that help our brain see that it's safe enough to process this stuff. When this stuff's processing well, you're going to see a powerlessness shift to options, and choices and ability and you're going to see resignation. If you are resigned, this is not a healing spot, and people can confuse that it is. We really want acceptance where there was resignation. Resignation is a pain thing. It's a coping strategy. It is not the jam. So if you're resigned, you got some problems going on there that need to be resolved so that you're coming into acceptance. And acceptance is hugely powerful. It's like an empty plowed field. You can plant any seeds you want, and your brain is like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to plant this seed of high self-esteem. And it will put that in there and go. And you can choose what you want put in there as well. There are exercises for that. Where you will have lack of strength and nervous system collapse, all of a sudden you will see strength. And you'll be like, who is this? You'll see inner strength show up for you. And that is the brain. It was like, oh, I know what to do here. Before it was like, we should collapse. And so, no, you should not collapse, but can't logic and reason with that. You actually have to walk the brain through its process to be strong and have capacity and to be capable. Okay. Also, you will watch the shift from feeling unsafe to feeling safe. You're just noticing, oh, I feel safer in more places. Your brain is making that for you behind the scenes every day while you're sleeping, while you're awake. It's just back there cooking the feeling of safety, and brains create that. Okay, so that's really how to get over victim mentality. Promise. That's my perspective. This is how I walk people through it, and it's really important. And so finish it. Don't let anyone tell you stop being a victim. No, finish being a victim. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.